Let us now begin another monthly program of question and answer that was entitled Times of Spiritual Battle. So people adapted their questions to this subject. If what we call times of spiritual battle, as we are living now, is a moment when the universe allows everything to happen. So the negative forces are free and loose, and the positive forces, the spiritual forces, also have a supreme freedom to act. So in these times of spiritual battle, we are facing a situation of making definitive choices in our lives. We are going through a cycle in our lives that we are clearly needing to choose one place, one side or another. But the problem is that the humanity does not recognize so well the positive from the negative side. But in these times of spiritual battle, where these forces are contrasting very much, we have the possibility of identifying them better, because the spiritual attacks are so, the evil spiritual attacks are so knitted, vivid, that we cannot confuse them. And then the spiritual positive forces come and embrace us. So it is a very important and critical moment, and many people are still already living this very consciously. So in this period of spiritual battle, there are many stimuli for the rescue of souls. Operation Rescue is at full movement, and the hierarchy is taking advantage of this moment and this energy, which is an cosmic and universal energy that reflects on earth as a battle between the negative and positive forces. So this is the subject of today, and one of the questions that we received, and we put it as the beginning of this work. The person wanted to know, when we are already relating ourselves with our souls, if there is no suffering anymore. This is a good question, because suffering is something that has a value according to our consciousness. There are people that suffer because they are purifying themselves. Then all the purifying work, the tests on this matter, are tests that takes people to suffering. But there is another type of suffering that is not this one, that when we are being tested, it's nothing that happens with us. There is another kind of suffering, that suffering of seeing how unprepared the humanity is. This is another kind of suffering. It's not the same. So suffering has a different sense for each other, a different meaning. I may be suffering because I have one problem, one conflict in my own person to be solved, or I need to get into a process of purification more definite. And this comes followed by suffering, or I may be suffering because I see humanity so much deviated. So it's not a suffering of mine. I suffer for what humanity is going through. Do you understand? So this is a suffering that the evolved souls feel. A evolved soul does not have its own suffering, but it also suffers not for her, but because it sees what is going on humanity. So there are different types of suffering. So when we are already in contact with our souls, our suffering may be from another kind that we have never felt before, because it may feel suffers for what people in Middle East are suffering. And I receive that, but I cannot say that I am suffering because of my own matters. So the fact of communicating with your soul does not exclude the suffering, but it changes the reason of the suffering. Your suffering, your personal suffering, goes purifying you, transforming you. But in other hand, the suffering that you feel when you see what the souls are going through in the Middle East, this suffering makes you mature more spiritually. When your soul may see what can happen to a soul in that situation. So, especially when your soul gets into a movement in its own plane to help the other souls. So this makes us grow in consciousness. Another person asks, to what extent our souls are accomplice participating with determined actions of our ego's actions. So how far, in what extent a soul may be involved with that. It depends on the soul. If the soul is evolving and it gets in a point that it may help that the human being be aligned, that the human being organize him or herself, the soul is being very, very participant of the evolution of that being. But in general, the soul has a more spiritual view than the matters of the human consciousness. But the soul may in certain moments not influence so much, because the human ego, the human person, has to go through their own experiences. So the soul that comes to make a spiritual service may be incarnated in a human ego that has not awakened yet to that. So the soul cannot be accomplice of this ego. So the soul tries to ease that, to alleviate that, because there may exist a difference between the intention of the soul and of the human ego. But in this case, it is a process of the soul to try to align that being, to influence the better way possible. But always the free will that is from the mind, the free will is not from the soul, but from the mind. The soul has to respect the free will of the mind, and it must interfere very drastically in cases of great compromise of the human ego. So if the soul perceives that some disaster is gonna happen because the human ego is going to cause something very grave for the evolutionary path of the being, then the soul may interfere with more decision. But this, as we saw, depends on the evolution of the soul, and depends also of the state found by the human being. And one person would like to understand what happens in a spontaneous abortion when the woman didn't want to abort, but it happened a spontaneous abortion because she suffered from a spontaneous abortion after 3 weeks of pregnancy, and she got very moved by that, very touched by that, because she didn't have any responsibility about what was happening. So she would like to know what could have happened actually when a spontaneous abortion happens, as it happens to her. See, there are some cases that an incarnation is organized, and the soul that must incarnate at that moment, in that opportunity, this soul, in a certain point, decides not to incarnate anymore. Everything was already set up, all the contacts made, but something happened to that soul that the soul decides not to incarnate anymore. So an abortion may happen even after the fetus starting to evolve. It's the soul that doesn't want to incarnate. In these spontaneous abortions, we have souls, generally. We don't know the conditions of those souls, but they may observe some things and decide not to incarnate anymore, or decide to organize another type of incarnation. And then the soul wants to go back to the fountain. And this is a spontaneous abortion. The exception is when it happens because of physical causes. And we will never know the reasons of a soul, because this soul is not incarnated, and it would be needed to have a contact from soul to soul, but to understand it really, but no mind, no person may understand that, because these reasons are from the soul. And when this happens, you must have some comprehension about it, because it's much better when the soul realizes that it doesn't have to, decides not to go to incarnate, and realize that, then if the soul incarnates to be an unhappy soul. So you that went through this experience, you have to be grateful because this happened, because in this way you don't know if your daughter or your son would be an unhappy soul if he or she incarnated at that moment. You don't know the inner story of the soul. So this decision may be a very intimate decision of the soul, nothing to do with the parents that are here. So do not blame yourself, and free the soul and bless the soul by going back to the source. Bless it, because when you meet it again in the world of souls, we will be eventually very friends. One person says that she's very worried because he's a little bit blocked financially, with problems in the stomach and the intestines, with food intolerance, and he feels very stuck, as if he was not evolving. And this being is a therapist, and he has meditated about it, asking for some light, and he would like some help about this situation. See, if you are with all these problems in the stomach, in the intestines, and if you are facing these problems, This is a question of your polarization of the points of your body where your attention is focusing on. So if you start to change your polarization, if you do not give so much attention to this abdominal part, this digestive part, if you take care very well of this part, but not concentrated to this part from the waist down, you start elevating your consciousness from the abdomen to the heart area. So for me, it seems that you have to elevate your consciousness to the heart area. The cardiac area, the heart area is a less material area. So your consciousness will be more focused in non-material things. In the heart area, we begin to be interested fraternally in people, and we are not so involved in material matters. If you place yourself in the heart area, many things will happen. If you change your attention from the abdomen to the heart, and this way you will start understanding that if you moved the attention of your consciousness from one area to the other, you may be able to elevate this consciousness in a higher part, more placed in the head area, not so much with the heart area where we feel so many emotions, but you may start working on your thoughts, your practical material thoughts, changing them to spiritual thoughts, getting interested in the spiritual matters of people. And you may, as a therapist, be able to feel where this person is focused, on what area this person is focusing on, like in the abdomen, on the heart, or either in the head. And when you are concentrated in some area, you try to elevate this concentration, and you will see that this will change. And when we try to put our attention in a higher area, in the top of the head, distributing our energy between the heart area and the head area, we start changing the way we relate to people. We change the way we dedicate ourselves to things, to different matters. And you are a therapist. Start analyzing this, researching, investigating on this, and you will see that we will become much more impersonal. And becoming impersonal, it doesn't mean that you will lose interest on people. But if you are impersonal, you will see better people and how you can help them, as long as you don't get so concentrated on you, but more taking care of others than worrying about you. So I think this is what is all about, and maybe everything will start to unblock. And one person says that he's connected to the work of Liz Fatima. And she said that since she was young, she started in a spiritual line, in the Oriental line. And she has acted very much in the work of Yogananda, which is a very positive work, as you know. So she acted a lot, was very involved in the work of Yogananda, and there she got used to what she said, silent meditation. The work of Yogananda is based on that. But after knowing this work where we are, she got very interested in the apparitions of Mary, etc. And she saw that in this work, the operative prayer is proposed, and she's having difficulty of going from the silent meditation which she was formed to the operative work. There are many ways of praying. There are many ways of putting one person in contact with their own inner world. But both techniques will get in the same point. But some characters prefer silent meditation. And since Yogananda has launched this work based on this silent meditation, who is silent and who wants to get into this work got in touch with his work. But now what happens is that we are dealing with a very planetary group, very heterogeneous group. Therefore, a group that needs almost a physical work, different from the silent meditation. It needs an almost physical work. It needs canticles, mantras, and this is a way of praying. This is one way of being in a spiritual life, as good as the other. But if you are already used to the silent meditation, and when you participate with the groups here, you find this operative work, you try to adapt yourself to it, not abandoning the silent meditation because of that, but you will be enriched, much more flexible if you do both works, because in certain moments the operative prayer is very strong and very proper for some moments, very adequate, especially for the moments when we need to make some exorcisms, when you have to remove some forces that are sometimes impregnated in people, in the places, and you will enrich your possibilities with that. And now you say that the group of silent meditation that she goes, this group is not conscious as the group of the operative prayer is. This group is not so conscious about the planetary situation, and then the person doesn't know if she can present this information to them or not. You have to begin with the principle that the energy may not be wasted. It's a strong mistake when you lose energy. So if people are well in the silent meditation, you will just talk about the operative work when they are interested in it, if they want to unfold in their activities, but do not try to introduce this in this environment, because you take care of the silent meditation and the operative prayer. One thing doesn't conflict with the other, and you try to make the synthesis and renounce to this urge of informing one person with the other group's information. And do not lose your energy, because everyone finds its own way in the form that it needs. And it's not all people that are able to make this synthesis, because the personalities find a great difference between the operative work, operative prayer, and silent meditation. And when one person is being able to do it in both groups, this is an important service. You are not betraying anyone. You do not talk about one group in the other. You just keep going and grow in consciousness, and then your soul will say to you what steps will be next. Another person said that before what happens in the environment, especially with what happened in Rio Doce and in Minas Gerais state, she got very troubled with that, and she saw that humanity has no attention to that, to the nature. And she feels very affected when she realizes the problem with the trees, the destruction that humanity generates in this planet. And the person is asking how she may help. And she asks, why do not the space vessels come, appear, and orient all this? The spaceships of our extraterrestrial brothers that help so much the Earth, as we know. Well, the space vessels help a lot our planet, but as long as the space vessels start transmitting doctrines, everybody is gonna be against it, against them. So the spaceships will make what they can do to maintain the balance of the planet. You know that there are some intra-ocean vessels that remove many of the dirt, of the trash, and the Pacific Ocean became a trash for humanity. And since the governments are not participating on that, the space vessels continue to work in silence, working in silence not to generate some reactions, negative reactions in the humanity. And this is not forbidden to say, because we have many books that explain what the space vessels are doing here. So one space vessel is not here to preach some doctrine. They are here to help the planet not to be destroyed in the extent that they can. And one day we will awaken to that, awaken to the existence of our brothers, extraterrestrial brothers, that know much more than us. So do not expect that the space vessels work in that sense, but just balancing the planet. And if you need or want to contact these souls, it's not that you may contact them, they contact us when we may become an instrument of service, not an instrument of service for them, but for the planet. And then some orientation may arise. And why do we need to pray for the past, asked one person, and for past situations, if you need to be concentrated in the present moment? And why do we need to feed the past sufferings in our prayers about the Passion of Christ? Why do we need to focus on that suffering, all this suffering? Well, if you do not feel well praying this way, if you do not feel Well, when you pray or taking care of what happened to you, you pray simply offering this prayer to what is most needed. Do not say that you are praying a passion of Christ or to dissolve the past. You do not have to pray for anything. You may pray just for praying. You may pray because prayer is useful. You pray and then you organize yourself. You get more organized. Your pray is going to serve because prayer serves a lot. And you pray for praying and leave the universe to use your prayer to what is more necessary. But do not do that making this so loose. You pray without your own motive to pray, but you pray offering this prayer to the universe. To the universe, not to beings that are not from the good, and they may use your prayers to other works. So offer this to God, offer this to the universe, and you say, I am praying to offer my prayer. And you will feel much peace when, as other people feel peace, when they are not praying with a selfish intention. And here we received some reports of some people that are being prepared in dreams. Prepared in dreams for situations that are about to come. And she would like to know why it is happening that, because the most typical dream that she has had is that some planes were bombing a place around her city, and these planes were bombing, and she did not know why that was happening, because everybody was very very worried about it, and she was seeing this very naturally. So here was your preparatory experience, because you were prepared for something that may happen suddenly, something that may trouble the social life or this life. And since the dreams may prepare you for this, you accept this training, you thank for this training, start writing down your dreams and try to see why you are being prepared for. What are you being prepared for? The dreams may prepare us for things that will happen so that you may be useful to the situation when it happens, because you already tried that during the dreams. So you thank for the dreams that you are having, for the experiences, and then she finishes with much enthusiasm, saying that you would like to work for the peace on earth. Well, you keep your preparation in your dreams, and when things start happening, you will find your place to help and to collaborate with everything. And you've been prepared psychologically through the dreams. And another person that went through an experience, he was in a hotel in some place in the east, in the western, in the eastern, and there was much respect on that place, and he was helping other beings in that moment, and he asked if those who were disincarnating, because it happened in the Orient, and he didn't know what he was doing there, and he saw that those who were living to another life sometimes left without any spiritual assistance. And then he realized that through the dreams. So see that the dreams prepare us for many things, and he also is getting inclined to a more spiritual evolutionary path of helping others. And another person also was in a situation of war. Very interesting how these facts in the Middle East, and how the astral bodies start participating of related situations, and how the war influences in the inner levels. And this person was facing a situation of war, and there was a group of resistance and the opposition, and then many bombings started happening, and he found in the astral plane beings that he knows from here, and they were there also, and one of them was there working. See how our world of dreams is very important to be revealed, because we get conscious of some things that happen during the dreams. And here one person says that we affirm that there were three basic religions, but he's saying that there are many more than these three. There is Christian Orthodox Christianism, the Hebrew religion, the adepts of Krishna, of Shiva, and other things related to the yoga, and we did not mention that. Look, and he got very uneasy. We mentioned three religions, three religious movements that are basic in the evolution. It's not that there are not any others, but these three are movements that started, developed until reaching Jesus happening. And these are not foreign things that happened to Jesus and what happens now. These are all linked together. And this happens in the moments of when the humanity needs them, in certain nations, in certain moments of history, but it's all the same thread, showing themselves with different disciplines or expressions, but the religious spirit is one, single one, and it expresses like Hebrew, like Christianity, but you have to be in the source of all this, and this is what we meant to say. And if we did not mention a certain religion, is because we were talking about the fountain, the source that comes everything from, so that we may see everything with the same attention. There was no diminishment of other religions. And everything that may exist as positive religions and not beliefs that deal with other things, but true religions, these all are part of the same religiousness of the planet. I know that every religion has its own adepts and do not consider other religions so valid. I know that, but there are some people that recognize that and see that Buddhism, that Islamism, and Jewish tradition are phases and different aspects of the same thing. And this thing is the religious impulse. And this is what we needed meant to say, and I hope that I clarified a little bit more. One person, when he starts to concentrate, he starts seeing faces of people, and he is praying and starts seeing this one after another when she is involved in prayer. I think your soul is participating of your prayer, and your soul is attracting those that need to be helped by your prayer. And for a phenomenical question, because this is a phenomenon that is happening to you, that you see in your mental screen the faces of people that may be receiving your prayers, people that you do not even know, because this is being organized by your soul, so that you may see that your praying is being useful. So your soul is showing all the other souls and people that are taking advantage of your prayers, are getting benefit from your prayers. So this is showing that you do not have to drive your prayer to some specific thing. You just continue praying, and if your soul continues to show you who are being benefited by this, you send love to all of them. Do not get impressed by it, and do not get so much attached to this phenomenon. But this is good for you to have a confirmation that your prayer is being valid, and your souls are bringing those who are needing your prayers for you to see. So continue with that so that your prayer may get another unfoldment. So one person is asking, mentioning that in one lecture it was said about the confederated and non-confederated beings. What is the difference between them? Well, we said that there are in the cosmos infinite civilizations. There is not just this terrestrial civilization, there are many infinite civilizations. And the confederated civilizations are those that are evolutionary civilizations, and the non-confederated civilizations are those who are committed with opposite forces of the project of God. So there are a project for each infinite civilizations, because we do not know how the universe wants to drive the destiny. But the confederated civilizations are positive civilizations that try to follow the evolutionary plan. And the non-confederated ones are those who think that things would be different. I don't know, because I'm not non-confederated, but this is how it may be. Those who do not agree with the evolutionary way, and they would want another order in the universe. And I believe that in the end, everything will be solved, and what is non-confederated will be rescued and will be redeemed, because the manifestation of the creation may not be divided. The creation itself will make this to be solved, but until then, watch yourself not to get in touch with non-confederated civilizations, because they are against the order of the established universal order. And one person here makes a lot of questions. The person says that during the planetary transition, we will be helped in all of our bodies. During the planetary transition, each one of us will be in a different situation. And since Operation Rescue exists, which is taking care of everything that will happen in the planetary transition, including ourselves, then the whole being is being taken care of. And he asks, will the chosen one be taken out, will be rescued, taken out from the planet and then put back in the planet? Well, the space vessels will take out all those consciousness that need to be taken out, and they know if they are going to do it partially with the bodies or with the whole bodies of one person. But in this whole period of transition, we need to have a work of being attuned with the operation itself, the Operation Rescue itself, and you be available to help in this Operation Rescue, and do not worry about what will happen. You collaborate and you maintain peace and order where you are, helping those who need, and you offer to the universe your actions, and the universe will take care of things and not us. And we will be in those moments helping, but not trying to give some destiny to things, because then the things will have the destiny that the universe wants. So until what extent may we be connected with the internet? Well, you use the internet just when you really need it, and do not get distracted by it, because the internet starts distracting you so that you cannot align yourself anymore. You get a distracted person. You get a very dispersive person if you start connecting too much to the internet. Internet has a very positive reason, but the evolutionary forces use this also to make people get out of their own tracks, their own paths. But take care to use it the minimal necessary, just when you really need it, when you do not have another means of doing things, and do not get distracted to that, because when you're dealing with it, one thing appears and the other, and then you get very distracted, and then these forces come and make anything of you. So this is a necessary evil, internet, and use it the more consciously possible as you use it. And the person is also asking some orientation about the mantras. So I am sending you a book of mantras through mail. and the person wants to know if she may perceive that a chip is introduced in her body, how can she deal with that? Because she doesn't know even how to identify it. These chips are things that the negative forces may introduce in one person's body that starts radiating some energies, and this gets spread in our body. Let's forget about it and let us answer just for this person, because of course, if you feel that you have one chip in your body, you ask for help. You ask the hierarchy to help you, and do not ask anyone else, because some just visionary people that may help you because they may see it. If some therapists may start removing these chips, you do not get involved with that. You just ask for guidance, ask for light, for the spiritual planetary hierarchy, because they have the ability of deactivating this when you ask with a proper intention of liberating yourself from it. And do not look for anyone if you perceive it to be happening with you. You just surrender to the hierarchy and to the divine collaborators that you know, like Jesus, Mary, Saint Joseph, Antoine. You call, invoke one divine collaborator, and then the hierarchies that take care of it will come in an instant. It is possible also that you have already been taken, these ships may be already taken from you. One person asks, what is the mystery of the Divine Trinity? What we call mystery of Divine Trinity is no mystery at all to those who comprehend the Divine Trinity. It is a mystery just for those who do not comprehend it. But indeed, for the majority, it's really a mystery. It is a mystery for us, but because we don't know it about yet. But if this is a mystery for us, I hope that this is not a mystery anymore in some moment, because this most holy Trinity represents the positive side of creation, through we call Father, and the other part is, as we call Mother, is the feminine side of creation, and the Son that came from the Father and the Mother, this Son may be an androgynous being. That's why we call the Trinity as the Father, the Mother, and the Son that is Jesus, because he's androgynous, a symbol of a very evolved being that altogether form a unity. And he wants to know if the word Mirnahe approaches us to that mystery. Mirnahe means the essence of the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is part of the Trinity, and Mirnahe, what is written in the head, around the head of Mary, is the essence of the Trinity. But these are things to be placed in your heart, nor in your mind, because the minds get very confused with that. I'm answering that because many people are to be connected with the Holy Trinity, but they have some prejudice against it. There is no mystery. It's a mystery for us, but in the cosmos everything is very clear and open, but we are the ones who need to reach that. So the Trinity is the Father that represents the creation in the masculine aspect. The Mother is the one that represents the feminine aspect of creation, and the Son that is the androgynous being, the result of all this, the triune result of all this. And keep praying to the Trinity. That is the more important thing now. And here one person wants some materials of Mishuk, the hierarchy, because Mishuk has many teachings on pure love, fraternity, forgiveness, and she would like to be more informed about that. I will send you by mail some recordings of Mishuk. And she said that the booklets of Mishuk are not in the internet. Yeah, they are not in the internet because they are specially made for the monasteries. But this is no secret, but we also talks about it during the lectures, and Mother Maria Shimoni also explains things about Mishuk. It's no secret at all, but it's not published as Jesus, Mary, and Saint Joseph's materials, because Mishuk's material aims the monasteries. Even though we try to inform everyone about this material. And the person asks how to help in the best way Mary, because she said in an apparition that the objective is to rescue everyone, and this person got very touched by it and would like to help. You pray and offer these prayers to Mary so that she may use it, because some things may just happen here in the planet if some part of the humanity asks for this to happen. Because these are not things that are prepared for this moment, but if a considerable number of beings ask for it, some things may happen differently. Because Mary, according to what she said, the person said in the message, is that she is willing to rescue everyone. So we will send you some recordings of Mishuk that are already available in Irdim Editora. And one person in the United States of America said that he just read one article that said that Mary has many influences on many souls in the United States, and he thinks that our prayers may nurture a lot these energies, facilitating that this love for Mary may be spread there. Well, this is exactly it. Offer your prayers to the universal work of Mary, and do not worry about what will happen. Do not try to orient these prayers. You offer and leave it to the hierarchy to use it as needed, because the United States will need a lot of a more conscious contact with the work of Mary. They will need a lot, because Mary wants to free many souls that are stuck, prisoners in the astral plane because of hatred developed in the slavery moment. So there are a great quantity of souls that are there in the astral plane, and Mary is making a strong work of liberation, including these souls, and prayer to Mary, and your prayers will be well used, and many souls of many slaves may be liberated, and this will be very good for the American nation, without a doubt. And here one person was praying, and she felt something approaching her, and it tried to impede her to pray, influencing her with certain mental things. And she would like to know how to deal with that, because she knows that we do not have to fight negative forces. If you cannot fight negative forces, what can we do? Well, since these things happen through vision or dreams, you make the sign of the cross over whatever faces you, because the sign of the cross dissolves anything. So in faith, you make the sign of the cross. When you listen to some voice, use the sign of the cross to whatever appears, and then this will be dissolved by the sign of the cross. If you do it, as long as you do it with sincerity, intention, and strength. And one person is in conflict because he says that we make an operative prayer by the way he likes a lot of doing. And then in St. Matthew, in the Gospels, he read that we need to pray to the Father in secret. So how come we are doing this and he's still doing this? Be according to what is in the Gospels of St. Matthew. Because St. Matthew there in the Gospel said, when you pray, do not be as the hypocrites, because they please in praying in the synagogues to be seen by the men. But in truth I tell you that they have already received their pardon. St. Matthew is playing his role, proposing a form of praying, but because he says, when you pray, close in your room and pray to your Father in secret, and in secret your Father will reward you publicly. Some people get well praying in secret because nobody comments on the way the person acts. And those who pray in groups and sing, this is another way of praying. One thing doesn't eliminate the other. And the Gospels is a book to everyone. So there is not just this proposal, but many proposals that may apparently contradict this one. These are not contradictions, it's just different forms of praying. And in the Bible, you take what concerns you, that will help you, and leave the other part, because the other part is for other people. Because the Bible was a translated book that was very manipulated. So you take what concerns you and do not get involved to the rest, because the rest may be useful to other people. The orientation that we have right now is that we occupy ourselves of reading the parables of Jesus in the New Testament. This is what we are being invited to do. Because in the parables, there is the way of being of Jesus, the way of working of Jesus, the way he served, and this is what interests us in the moment, not the occult things of the Gospels or the manipulated things that are there. And the parables may show us different ways of serving and may help us a lot. We are answering other questions by mail because are more personal ones and eventually would not be interesting to the greater public. So wait to those who weren't answered now. You may wait a little bit more because we are answering some things by mail. And to that person that asked what it means to liberate our own guardian angel, and the person is asking, what is that? I did not say that. What we said is that we would do our part without our guardian angel making our part, because it has its own function beside us. And if he deals with things that we should have done or assumed, one part of his own work will be compromised. This representative of the angelical world that follows us forever, always, he's there to do what the angelical kingdom may do. But if we occupy our guardian angels with things that we should have solved, this makes him attached to some things that he would be better, he would be free from. And this is what we meant about liberating our guardian angel, liberating him to what just him is able to do, like protecting ourselves, taking care of our own safety, and this is up to us, and leave to the guardian angel to the things that we are not able to do. So thank you very much. We will publish the day of our next lecture, monthly lecture, that will be in some Monday of January. We will announce through the internet in some days. Thank you very much for the attention.